Let's begin with another main topic, which is some of the issues which are there in extensive reading. And these issues, we need to really look at these issues because they really affect uh, extensive reading program. So one of the issues is how to choose materials for extensive reading. Now let's have a look at this one and what are the practical constraints. If we first look at the definition of extensive reading, things will be much more clear how to choose and what to choose and what to leave for developing extensive reading. So let's go one step backward and look at the definition of extensive reading. So extensive reading actually involves rapid reading of large quantities of material. So it's fast reading and reading which is in greater amount, or longer readings for general understanding, or they are meant to develop a general understanding of the text with the focus on meaning. So the main focus is on the meaning. I mean, the input which is given to the students is meaning focused, or the meaningful, which they really understand of what is being read than on language. Because language learning is primarily the main part of intensive reading. You remember we talked in depth what is intensive reading, what are its parameters, and how we can inculcate this in the classroom, in the language classroom. So overall, this definition reflects that effective extensive reading needs to focus on materials which are relevant, which are understandable, and which give comprehensible input. I mean, the input which is understandable. Okay. So it's important, like before choosing materials for extensive reading, choosing material is one of the issues, as I said before in the beginning. So teachers need to build up a reading culture, the culture where the environment where students feel quite interested. So, and another thing which needs to be kept in mind is to choose materials which are motivating and encouraging. I mean, the topics could be of various types. They could be on pollution, they could be on oil, they could be on current issues, but the topics or the chosen for extensive reading should have interest for appealing to the students. So in this regard, students can have access to good books which are collection of good books. And there could be some activities where we as language teachers, or you as language teacher, can include in. For example, we can give one book to the entire class. That's just a task. There's just a task or an activity. So the whole class is actually reading the same book, and they are coming up with their readings, their understanding. Let's say after 1 week or 2 weeks, they get together and they discuss what they read and how it was. So in this way, we give students input which is in larger quantity. So as I said before, like in order to choose material, of course, we as language teachers have our preferences, but we need to take our students' priority first, because the priority should be done in such a way which fulfills their level of language learning. So there are, of course, various principles of language teaching and extensive reading. So now, language teaching is seen from a principled perspective. I mean, it is seen from by principled perspective, but by this I mean that it's more now seen as an activity which is better, which is conducive to the environment of the students. So I would suggest that in an extensive, students are encouraged to self-select the texts which they find meaningful, which they find interesting. So in choosing materials for extensive reading, of course, teacher's role is very, very crucial. But in this regard, we can give this responsibility to our students to select texts which they find interesting, which they can keep up, which they can use for enhancing their vocabulary or their overall general understanding.